Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We could win an Emmy tonight, Tony. But isn't it just an honor to be nominated?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. What are you, chump? No, it's not an honor just to be nominated.
Orange slices and participation?
No.
That doesn't do it for you?
No, I want to win it.
Yeah.
We've won it a few times. I want to win it again.
Getting greedy.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we should win it.
I think greed's okay.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it Gordon Gekko who once said greed is good? A long time ago.
That.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Florida Panthers are back on the ice. Baseball tests high tech for check swings, and Kendrick Perkins joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the NBA's Western Conference Finals, which begin tonight in Oklahoma City between the Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oklahoma City has home court by virtue of finishing 5 spots ahead of Minnesota in the regular season and having 19 more wins than Minnesota. But the teams split their season series and each team won once on the road. So armed with all that, Wilbon, which way are you leaning?
This is really hard. Really, really hard. You know, from the days of October when the season started, I said Oklahoma City was going to win a championship.
Yes, you did.
This year. I also told you the Celtics wouldn't because it's too hard.
You were right on that.
They're right on those. And now I get here when it's time to wave the OKC flag, and I look at the teams, and there's one guy to me who could be the difference maker in this series, and he's not on OKC. It's Julius Randle. Julius Randle has played great. Julius Randle is more versatile than people have credited him for over the years. Julius Randle can fit in a variety of ways. I look at Minnesota, and they've been a step beyond OKC already. And yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. And when Jalen Williams, when J-Dubs is playing the way we've seen him play, Oklahoma City's better. But if you ask me, I look at it now and I'm going Julius Randle. Julius Randle is the difference maker because I think SGA and Ant-Man will cancel each other out. And so Julius Randle, who I like tremendously, I worry that my prediction is going to go down the tubes.
Right. So I need to divest myself of all the prejudices here publicly.
Okay.
I root for Minnesota because one of their assistant coaches is Nathan Bubis, who I've known since he's a child. That's not going to influence what I say now. I like Minnesota. I think that they're a very good team. I did not like the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I did not.
You didn't, I know.
I did not. But it seems, because you're talking about Julius Randle, it seems like it has worked out. And I credit Minnesota for getting back to the conference finals 2 years in a row. But Mike, I think Oklahoma City is a better team. I think Oklahoma City is the class of the West. And I'm going to tell you something else. I think it is much harder to have beaten Denver than to have beaten Golden State without Steph Curry.
Great point.
And I think that the big men on Minnesota, Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, are going to have a lot more trouble with the two big men, Isaiah Hartenstein, I hope I pronounced that correctly, right? What's the other kid's name? I wrote it down, Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren.
I think it's different than Golden State and the Lakers, who are small. Yeah. Oklahoma City is not small.
They got more reinforcements with Naz Reid. And, you know, Minnesota's got a lot of stuff.
And I get that. And the point you make about Randle, I don't know if you know this statistic. In the last 36 games he has played for Minnesota, they are 30-6. And that's his impact. But if I compare the two largest stars, if I compare Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony
Edwards. Well, you give me the advantage.
Oh, Gilgeous-Alexander? Because of this. And tell me if you don't agree on this. His bad games are better than Anthony Edwards' bad games.
He can have some bad shooting games, but he's also probably a better defender and a better team defender in that concept.
Moves the ball around better to the other players.
That too.
So we're on opposite sides
to this series. But I know I told you I'm bare. You asked me which way I'm leaning.
You're leaning. Okay. At least you didn't push.
No, I can't push. Stanley Cup Conference Finals get underway tonight too. In the East, the defending champion Florida Panthers are on the road against the Carolina Hurricanes. And tomorrow night in the West, the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars meet in Dallas in their game 1. Tone, do you like both the Panthers and Oilers to win these series and meet in a Stanley Cup final rematch?
Well, recent history says yes, because they were there last year. This doesn't happen that much in the NHL. Let me check my notes. The last time was 2009. With the Red Wings and the Penguins. I don't want you to accuse me of what you call all the time recency bias, but I do think that would be I think that would be the better Stanley Cup final. I mean, what would happen is Florida would come in having established a change in its own history. They were down 0-2 to Toronto. As a franchise, they had been 0-5 when they were down 0-2 in a playoff series. So they won that. They come in with that. They come in, they would then be in the finals for the third time in a row. Tampa Bay did that recently, but before Tampa Bay, you have to go back to Wayne Gretzky's Oilers in 1985. And this is a great stat. In 7 road games in the playoffs so far this season, they've outscored opponents 33-16, which is enormous. And on the other side,
when you can score 6 all the time against the Toronto Maple Leafs, it helps you.
But who doesn't want to see Edmonton in the finals? Who doesn't want to see Connor McDavid in the finals? And if Edmonton were to win, at least the Stanley Cup would be in a city where it snowed. The other 3 cities does not snow.
That's true. I want to see Connor McDavid and Draisaitl as I've wanted to see them for the last 3 or 4 or more years. And I've already lost one team. I wanted to see Toronto, but they just go gagalicious every year into the dark night. And it just what happens with Toronto, I'm still trying to get over that. I want to see the best player in the game in the championship series.
Okay, what about on the other side?
Is that so bad?
Do you want Florida or do you want Carolina?
You know, I'm tired of Florida on some level.
Really?
Yeah, I am. I'm sort of tired of Florida. They've been in there. This is, like you said, the 3rd straight year. They're defending champs. But I'm going to say this. It's worthy. They are worthy defending champs. So you know what? If you're Edmonton and you got the best player in the game and 2 of the 5 or 6 best players in the game, go through the champs. So I'm fine with Florida and Edmonton.
If I ran the NHL, that's what I would want. And no disrespect to Dallas. And no disrespect to Carolina. But that's not hockey town. Okay? Dallas, when you talk sports in Dallas, the first 10 answers are the Cowboys, then maybe the Mavericks, then the Rangers because they won a World Series, not the hockey. When you talk hockey in North Carolina, people look at you because it's college basketball. And this is an odd fact.
These 2 have been around for a while now.
And they're fine
Hurricanes
franchises.
And Panthers, they keep bubbling up late in the playoff action every year.
If I'm not mistaken, they've won Stanley Cups since Edmonton won its last Stanley Cup. So again, no disrespect. But the other thing that is true is for a long period of time, there was a significant Canadian population in the winter in South Florida. In South Florida, Canadian. Although the 51st state thing may have changed that. We don't know. We move to baseball and the scientific breakthroughs. Starting today, baseball will experiment with an automatic Hawkeye system that will allow challenges to check swing calls. This will begin in single-A minor league ball. The tipping point is whether the head of the bat is at least 45 degrees ahead of the knob. Each team gets 1 challenge per game, 1. But if the challenge is successful, they get another and on and on. Wilbon, big deal, little deal, no deal.
No deal. I tried to muster up some emotion for this, and I can't. I don't care. First of all, you can go a whole game, or probably 2 games in a row, and not get a check swing. Not for a 3rd strike anyway. So I'm sorry, I can't get excited about every little thing baseball does where they want to introduce technology. And by the way, I'm not against it. I'm not against the introduction of technology, but don't ask me to care. You care about this?
I do.
Why?
Let me say, I'll explain it. I think it could be a very big deal, especially on a 3-2 count with the bases loaded. Okay, I think that the check swing is in the fabric of every at-bat. I am one of those people who likes to look at the first base ump or the third base ump to see if they go like this, okay? And especially on a 2-strike situation. What amazed me today was I found out that there is no written definition
of what the check swing is.
Yes,
that's why this is not a big deal.
I didn't know that. It's absolutely up to the umpire discretion.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that will all be settled. Now we'll have a definition. Now we'll have something that we can pay attention to.
The 45-degree angle, really?
Yeah. Wait, do you like it in tennis? Do you like when they show
I like the
serve?
Hawkeye. That's different. The thing is either in or out. And it's still judgment, 45-degree angle. By the way, let's get to something more important in the remaining seconds we have left, Mr. English Major.
Yeah.
Is it check swing or checked ED swing?
I think that depends on the time and place. I think the active motion is to check a swing. I think when you look back on it, it is a checked swing. So I think there's probably 2 different words, slightly different definitions. We will see it. Not next year. Next year it'll go to the majors in spring training. The year after, we're going to see it. And I like it. I like it in this regard, Mike. I like it if everyone can see it and there's transparency to it and it's quick, bang, bang.
So what I gotta have? I gotta have an isosceles triangle on the screen?
I want to see it quick.
Really?
Here's what I don't like.
What?
I don't like how long it takes to find the spot of where the football should be on the line of scrimmage. And I don't like how long it takes to see if it's a flagrant one. Those things take forever.
One is way worse than the spot on a field.
Takes forever.
Flagrant one.
If it's bang, bang, I'm going to like it. Let's take a break. Coming up, what sort of a challenge do the Knicks face in the Pacers? We're going to ask Kendrick Perkins.
We'll also ask him what he would ask for from the Bucks if he was in Giannis' shoes.
Ooh. So you don't care at all about this?
No. Not even a little. No.
3 and 2 bases loaded?
Okay. But how often does that happen in a game where you get a check swing third strike?
Pardon?
Let's dig back into the NBA playoffs with our great friend from NBA Today and NBA Countdown, Mr. Kendrick Perkins, who is in Oklahoma City where he played.
OKC.
He played there.
Yes, he did.
Game is tonight. The Timberwolves and the Thunder, they open tonight. You're there in person. What specifically will you be watching for in Game 1?
Oh, I'm watching the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm watching their leader and their best player, Anthony Edwards. This is a moment for him. He has a golden opportunity to go out here and snatch Game 1, especially when you look at Oklahoma coming off a tough 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets, physically and emotionally drained, and now all of a sudden you have 5 days off and you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. You look to come in here and snatch Game 1. And I don't want Anthony Edwards to be Anthony Edwards tonight. I want Anthony Edwards to be Ant-Man. I want him to play the wrong way, not the right way, meaning he got to come out shooting the hell out the basketball. I don't want to see the facilitating. Damn it, in order for them to win this series, win this game, Anthony Edwards is going to have to average 30 to 35 points.
Ooh. Like hearing that. Tony never wants to talk about the New York teams, but I'm going to do that. Pacers, Knicks, Perk start tomorrow night. How different are the Pacers from the Celtics team than the Knicks that the Knicks just beat? Seems like they're very different to me.
What the difference is that, one, everybody on the Pacers is shooting the three ball at a high clip, and they push the pace, not just in transition off of steals and missed shots. They push the pace on made shots. So the Knicks they do a great job of crashing the glass, especially the guards offensively. But in this series, they're going to have to get back. And also, I'm going to say this, a lot of love has been shown to Tyrese Halliburton, and rightfully so. But that damn Miles Turner has been a problem on both ends of the floor. He's leading the postseason right now in block shots. He has definitely been the difference maker for the Pacers, and Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to accept the challenge, dominate the challenge, especially if the Knicks are trying to win this series.
All right, Perk, a lot of eyebrows went up yesterday when you said Jalen Brunson is the best player left in the playoffs. I loved hearing you say that, but right away I thought, okay, what does Perk see in Brunson that he's not necessarily seeing in SGA and Ant-Man?
I'm saying the same thing, Wilborn, that you used to see in Jordan. When it matters the most, he gonna take you home. He's the best player in the clutch time in the postseason. He's been closing out games in great fashion. I know one thing about big body Brunson. When it get tight and it gets in the fourth quarter, I know that he's going to take the Knicks home. That's the one thing I know about him more so than anybody else. And there's no disrespect to SGA, there's no disrespect to Ant-Man. Both of those guys have done a beautiful job this postseason. But Jalen Brunson has done it the entire season, regular season and postseason. And he gets it done at home and on the road.
I can just imagine Anthony Edwards listening to Perk and saying, what? What? Okay, let's get you out of here on this. Chris Haynes reports that Giannis will meet with the Bucks this week. If you were in Giannis' shoes, what would you say to them?
Well, it's not just about Giannis. If I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I say to Giannis, it's time for us to move on. I think, it's nothing else that the Bucks could do right now to bring in pieces around Giannis to make them a legit title contender. At some point, the Bucks got to look at their organization and do what's best for their organization, and that's not holding on to Giannis Antetokounmpo. And if I'm Giannis, I want to go somewhere where I can compete for a title. If I'm Giannis, I want to go somewhere where I could play alongside another superstar, a rising superstar that has the same type of mentality as me, like a Victor Wembanyama or like a Cade Cunningham that nobody is talking about right now. Can you imagine Giannis in Detroit with Cade Cunningham? That duo would be special. But I think feelings should be mutual. I think not only should Giannis be ready to move on, but I think the Bucks should be ready to move on from Giannis as well.
Thank you, Perk, and enjoy the game tonight.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have fun.
It's about to be fired up.
I know it is.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, a milestone for Kyle Schwarber, who used to live in Wilbon's building in Chicago.
He did. 345 East Ohio. And is Mets manager Carlos Mendoza right to be concerned about Juan Soto's hustle?
You wouldn't put Brunson ahead of Gilgeous Alexander and Anthony Edwards, would you? No, you wouldn't.
You know what, Brunson? He's a Chicago boy.
I understand. Would you put him ahead of those two?
Man, it's hard. They're right. The great thing is they're there together. That's hard.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you like the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.